No, don't mute, because we are now live around the world. Face front, true believers. Welcome to the Pitch Nerds. We are the weekly show where two nerds roll out of bed to bring you the latest in nerdy news, reviews, and occasionally pitch things. I am Cap, and joining me today is always best friend, fellow nerd, and Trump co-conspirator, Mr. Frosty. Mr. Frosty, how are you doing today?
I'm all right. Just chilling.
No. Is it
It's
rainy and miserable up there too? Because it is rainy and miserable
well, I
down
like
here.
rainy, but no, it's
Yeah.
not raining up here. It's there's like birds chirping and shit. I looked outside briefly. I was like, this sucks, and then I just went back inside.
Just grumbled at the sky and returned to the cave. Yes.
Yeah, I'm not really an outside kind of guy.
Mm,
I
yeah.
saw this thing on Twitter that was like, if you were, would you rather have like unlimited funds and live in like a city and all this, or would you rather be like living out in the countryside to get away from all those people?
Hmm.
I want unlimited funds living in a city, but like in a tower somewhere so I could look down upon people
Right.
and not be a part of them. you know?
Just live above them.
Yeah, exactly. And then I
You
mean, and
walk out to
then
your veranda and you look beneath. You look down and you see them.
yeah, and
Yeah.
plus having like the people scattering around you like that means like when you do need people for stuff, you
Mm,
can DoorDash food, you can do all that kind of stuff. You can't do
right.
that now in the country.
Right.
Now in the country, you have to go outside and shit. I'm not doing that.
Right. I mean, within 5 years, all deliveries are going to be drones, anyways. I believe. Um,
Well,
well,
yeah, and then
drones.
eventually they're saying you'll just be able to 3D print anything you want, including food and things like that. So
Right.
that would be cool.
That's awesome. I have shit like that in my project, which is great. I mean, it's just the was it the fabricators from Star Trek? Those are cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Star Trek has a lot of stuff though. When you like once you got the fabricator and once you got the holodeck, like that's the end of humanity right there.
Right.
Like
Right.
I mean, like I'm going in the holodeck, and I mean, I'm not gonna say what I'm gonna do because we're a family show.
Right.
But I mean, it's not gonna be something that I'm gonna want recorded, and
A
like I'm.
tower is involved. A tower that looks down upon the city below. It
I
involves
would play a lot of like D&D though. Like if I could get some buddies together, like
oh,
that would be fun. I guess you could just make your own buddies though. That's the problem. And they're
right.
like regular people. They're. I mean, you don't need humans anymore.
Right.
But yeah, I mean,
That
I
sounds
could
lovely.
just be like, hey, let's play like bloop bloop bloop.
Like
Got a bunch of players,
build your own
and
matrix.
yeah, and then I'm like, I would be playing D&D, but we're like, I'm a wizard and shit,
Right.
And then
uh,
food again, replicator just makes it for you, and
right.
just you
Whatever
eat
you
it.
want.
Yeah, and it does it right in the holodeck too. You once you go in that room, you ain't coming out.
Right. You're just there.
Like,
Put the little thing on the outside of the door. Do not disturb.
yeah, like that's it. That's humanity gone. Like,
God, imagine being like the cleaning lady afterwards, just having to Febreze those things.
you don't have to have a cleaning lady. The freaking thing cleans itself.
uh,
If you want a cleaning lady,
and
just be like holodeck cleaning
there
lady,
needs to be a cleaning lady for the holodeck. Just
Yeah. But she would
uh,
the holodeck could create a cleaning lady for you. It's like when you really
right.
think about it. I don't know where we went off on this crazy holodeck thing, but yeah,
I
those
have
things
stuff like
and
this in Quantum. It's great. Like replicators, as we see like the primordial version of the replicator right now with 3D printers, and they're only going to get bigger, better, more advanced.
hmm
And once you can control like individual atoms, and yeah, conceivably you can essentially create whatever you want just by knowing how to manipulate atoms and through fusion and shit. It's interesting. I'm in like a juicy sci-fi mood. It's great. Like this, we'll get into that with Behold Nerds. But anyways, yeah,
Yeah, we picked a pretty big sci-fi flick this week. And then speaking of, we had a fan suggestion for from our buddy oh, I'm blanking on your Twitter hand at Rob0797.
Mm.
He wanted us to watch Enemy so that we could discuss it with him. Because he, I guess, saw it and he was like, "Oh my god, I got to talk about this film." So he suggested it to us.
Okay.
Also,
hey, we have a new subscriber, Dave Rockwell. Yes.
Oh, well, welcome.
Yay.
Thank you for joining.
Sorry, I forgot how much noise it makes on my end when something like that happens, and it doesn't happen that often. When it does, like, ah!
Yeah.
It's just loud. Anyways, thanks. Welcome to Pitch Nerds.
Yeah, thank you for joining. We really appreciate it.
Coffee's delicious.
Anyway, then we've had 2 suggestions for pitches because we're discussing what to pitch next. Did you get any suggestions over the last week?
No. But
the 2 suggested to us were Jurassic Park, which is something that mostly because I think you don't want to do it, and they were like, "Ah, Jurassic
but I already
Park.
did it. No, I already did it.
Scooby Doo, and you just folded in Jurassic Park.
Yes, my contractual obligation has been fulfilled.
That's not true. Sorry, no, you did Scooby Doo. That's the rules.
No, I did. Jurassic it was crossover.
No, because you can't.
Just as much
that doesn't count.
Jurassic
If the
Park
the
as it was
Scooby
Scooby-Doo.
Doo. The other one is The Mask. But well, I guess it's
Just
open to interpretation. Right. They actually came up with a good idea themselves, and they were talking about like a series. Right. Where each episode, like an HBO series, right? Where like each episode, someone else dons the mask and have it be closer to the comics. Yeah, that sounds like a very cool show.
So I was thinking similar premise where it's like an HBO show, but like every season would be a different mask holder. So yeah. But same,
I think you could do
concept.
It like though, if you did like an hour-long episode, you could probably just be like, "Yeah, that's good," Yeah. Because like in the comics, Stanley Ipkiss wasn't like a running. He died after the first thing, and his girlfriend killed him.
Right.
But anyway, but I was thinking HBO or Prime maybe because like they do The Boys. Like I could see The Mask being kind of that style thing.
Right.
What? Do we want to discuss it more? Well, and we were also talking possibly doing indie. So,
right.
Like, what are your thoughts?
You know what? Why don't we throw up a Facebook poll? I'll throw up a Facebook poll. You can throw up a Twitter poll. We can do between the 3 and let them vote.
Okay. I hope Jurassic Park wins.
Fuck off.
I just think
have been fulfilled.
Like, why is I just think like I could do a dinosaur movie. If I think of it that way, like not doing a Jurassic Park movie, but I just doing a dinosaur movie.
Right.
Dinosaurs are awesome.
Dinosaurs are awesome, but I don't know.
There can't
Jurassic
be only
Park,
one.
Right, but I kind of disagree. Like I think if there's like the one quintessential, like lock into a capsule and unearth like 1,000 years later, and compared to everything else that followed, I still think that the original Jurassic Park just captures it because at that time we hadn't seen that technology yet. Spielberg captured it beautifully, where for the first time we are seeing these creatures, cinematically, like with the CGI and everything. It was perfectly captured. You cannot recapture that. It's just.
Here's the thing.
That is Jurassic Park.
Do I think Jurassic Park it'll probably always be the best dinosaur movie? Absolutely. Do I think there could be other really awesome dinosaur movies? Absolutely.
Okay, all right. How about that? If we were to just strip away the Jurassic Park sticker and just have it be a dinosaur movie.
That's what I mean.
Okay, like not Jurassic Park, but just a dinosaur.
Right. I mean,
movie.
you would still just you would say. I understand that brings like like if you were to make a robot police enforcement movie or a cyborg police officer,
right?
You'd probably be more okay with it than a RoboCop movie because you have certain expectations with a RoboCop movie,
right?
But I still think you could do a cool dinosaur movie and then just do like a nod to Jurassic Park. I think the problem is they keep trying to do what they already did.
Right.
And I think that's the problem.
And that
Jurassic
exactly
World was also kind of good. kind of,
So
compared to the others.
What made Jurassic World good is because we are now from. It's the opposite spectrum. We went to seeing the park before it opened. We never got to see these attractions. To what does it look like when it finally does open? It's
Mhm.
the application of that technology, and we got to see from that ground level what it was like to actually go to Jurassic Park, and then we
You
got
know
to
the
see the
problem
corporate
with
end of it, which was fantastic. It was
Yeah, but you know the problem with Jurassic World is the whole movie relied on the premise of um people like not caring about dinosaurs and shit, because like that they were like, oh, we have to make an even more advanced dinosaur
right,
and all this, and we have to keep making. Dude, zoos bring in money nowadays.
right,
At no point is anyone ever gonna go, hey, you know what would be awesome is a dinosaur zoo. There's no way that's ever gonna like stop, like,
right.
and in reality we're not like, oh fuck, you know what we need to do, we need to make scarier tigers sponsored by AT&T. This is where
It's
the logic, like,
but you know what though, it's a satire. It was done tongue in cheek to
I know, but like you got to admit though that logic is very, very, very flawed.
it is, but think of it as like a corporate satire. I can appreciate that. Because they're
Yeah,
always
I
going to.
guess.
Just the only character I didn't like was what's her name, Bryce Dallas
The,
Howard. She's not a
yeah,
good actress. She's not a good
I think
actress.
I think she's all right in certain roles. I just don't think she's that way. I
Uh,
guess I wasn't
I
even.
it,
Would she? I don't know. I'm gonna give her a pass.
even Chris Pratt was a little bit too ham for me. Um,
I'm gonna give them a pass. I don't know
I
why. I
my
just
biggest issues with the movie are the two of them.
see my biggest
But
issues were stuff like that, and like there's a lot that like it pulled me out of the movie when watching,
yeah,
and stuff like that. I was just like, wait, this. And then they're like, oh, and then it can turn invisible, and we didn't know that. And then we get in the cage with it, and then, oh, there's just
right.
like a lot
There's
of
a lot of
stuff, like,
stupid. There's
yeah, and
there's
I'm
some
just like,
stupid, but
you guys are,
it's fine.
there's suspension of disbelief is important in movies,
Right.
but at some point you're calling me a moron, and like, and I don't like it when that I'm called a moron. So
I don't
yeah,
find it as egregious as the movie that we watched the other week that explained the movie out loud to us as it was happening.
yeah.
Yeah, like that's a little bit more egregious. This was more.
I thought it was fine, but I do think you
It was
can.
ham. It was cinema ham.
I do think you can do a good Jurassic Park movie. You just gotta like, I think you can take that universe
Hmm.
and you just need to again like throw the focus elsewhere,
Right.
and then you could do something cool. Like, I mean, there's like clones
Black
and
market dinosaur fighting.
yeah,
Yes.
you just gotta not be an idiot, and like you gotta not point lasers at people and shoot them with guns and send dinosaurs after them, and
Right.
and then like
Common
I
sense shit.
understand. Though, you know what, the guy who did the last Jurassic Park movie, what was it, Dominion?
Hmm.
He talked about this problem that we're talking about right now. He
Yeah.
was saying like, how the hell do I do this movie?
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. I do see what you're saying. Like, okay, let's remove the moniker Jurassic Park and let's just say dinosaur movie.
Okay, so the last movie, everybody, I can give it credit for one thing because it did what it did was it expanded on the universe, which I actually enjoyed. It was now have this technology. How else do we apply it? Well, let's apply
Well,
it towards
that's
these
that's what that's
local.
what he did. That was the direction he took it,
Right,
because he was like, "What do I do
right,
here?" And
and
so he made it about like locusts and
right.
shit.
So I actually liked the movie for that one singular reason. Everything else I thought was stupid. But I thought the concept was interesting because they established early on it's not about the dinosaurs, it's about manipulating genetic power. That
Yeah.
is the core root of Jurassic Park.
That's
is
kind
that
of one
principle.
of the gripes, though. But I get what you're saying too.
Right,
Like the guy did what he could.
right. And
Um,
so for that, I had it been less ham, Chris Pratt ham, and
I didn't have a problem with Chris Pratt
it
again.
was all just hammy. It just
You know what's funny is the only person that's ever killed a dinosaur in Jurassic Park
mm,
was the girl in Jurassic Park 2 that did the like
no, the
ninja
spinny
spin
kick
thing.
to
It's the only time it's happened. It's hilarious. Someone like pointed that out, and it's like, oh yeah.
yeah.
um.
Okay.
Anyway, so we're after the Jurassic. So we'll do dinosaur.
We'll add
Dinosaur movie, The Mask, and then what is it? What was the last one? Oh, Indiana
Indiana
Jones.
Jones. Right.
Okay. Indiana Jones is another one that's gonna like kind of runs into that same problem.
I
You could do like adventure movie
right. I'm
better
thinking
than you could do Indiana Jones because the problem is you're like there's this massive pair of shoes and then you got to like step into them,
right.
you know, and like I agree, but the thing is the studio is more likely to get behind Indiana Jones or Jurassic Park
Right.
because of name recognition.
Right. Which is
You know?
a thing. But anyways,
I mean, it's kind of realistic. If we were to like pitch a dinosaur movie, they'd be like, "This sounds awesome,
mm,
but make it Jurassic Park."
ugh,
Like because I would be like the dinosaur franchise I would go for.
mm.
What is it called? Dinosaurs for Hire. Did you ever read that comic?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that'd be a good
Yeah,
one. That'd be a
yeah,
good got done in like the old Spawn animation kind
yeah.
of sort
Well,
of
I
or
would do it in like a. I would do it live. I mean, I would try and go live action, but I would have it be like kind
like
of like
a Jim
gritty. I
Henson
don't.
production.
I guess the hard part is people don't like live action because then you like the studio would be like, oh, let's make it about the humans, you know?
Right.
And like it's like, no, dude, that's because it's the problem Transformers runs into. I haven't seen the new
Right.
Transformers. Have you seen it yet?
Not yet. So we're gonna go see Spider Verse today. Mrs. Cap and I are interested in seeing Transformers. It's getting okayish reviews. You had mentioned it,
It's mid, and no, that's the reviews anyway.
but you know what though? For I guarantee you, there's probably not going to be like a pee pee poo poo joke in it. Hopefully, I'm hedging my
Well,
bets.
the gripes I'm hearing is like there's not many Maximals in it. Like they're hardly in the film.
Nah, that's a shame.
Um, an epic Twitter debate got started yesterday over like with me, Super Killer, and Rob.
Mm.
Um, over I guess there's a death scene in the movie where like Prime just goes blam blam and just like ices a dude who's like begging for his life on the ground.
What? Oh
And
my!
they were very
Oh,
much in favor of that. And I was just like,
that's not
well, why
Prime.
wouldn't you just arrest him and send him to robot jail or whatever, you know?
Right.
Like, and then maybe execute them after he's like gone through a trial. Like, I could see like them being like, "Oh, we must do this for Cybertron."
Right. Right. You know,
But like the
Optimus
dude's
Prime
like,
wouldn't
"Oh,
just.
please spare me," and he's just like, "Blam, blam." Like, although Prime is
Wow.
more of a killer. Like, if you were to compare Prime to Superman, Prime kills dudes.
Yeah.
Superman, I know he does sometimes. You can point at individual comics and whatnot, but generally, his rule is he doesn't.
Hmm.
Hang on. Yeah, stop. I gotta open. I don't like opening my closet because then it's like this open closet behind me with just like shit everywhere.
Yeah.
But the cat's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Why isn't this open? All right, fine, you win. Everybody can look in my closet. He doesn't even care. He walks away.
Cats are dicks. Why do
He
you
just-
entertain it? Why do you allow that?
He just there's not you cats are like they just like I'm gonna keep doing this
Right.
until your will breaks. You know, they don't give a shit.
So going back to what you said about Superman, so going back to our pitches, because you know there was that moment in the Snyderverse where the Superman had to choose between killing Zod or rescuing girl.
Right,
It's
right.
fucking Superman, dude. You can save the girl and take out Zod. You're fucking Superman, and
Yeah,
it should have been treated more like a Goku moment where it really shows out just how powerful he can be when he pushes himself when
Yeah.
he needs to be, versus just shit, it's one or the other. So I envisioned this scene in my head where there's like the bus that's falling, and you got this going on and this going on, like three different things, and because he's a younger Superman, he hasn't quite developed his power yet, and that's like that moment where he just really focuses in and he's able to accomplish all three. And then once the smoke settles, that's when you get that Zack Snyder-esque just scene of him just sort of floating down from the clouds with like the smoke and everything, and you just see the S reveal. Like, that's fucking Superman, dude. Like, oh, that is Superman.
Well, like I actually have that listed as a rant because after our discussion about heroes who kill versus heroes who don't, so let's save that and we'll see if we have time. Let's jump into nerdy news because we've been chatting for a while.
No, that's fine.
Okay, so Chris Pratt reveals news that the new Super Mario Brothers movie sequel will be coming soon. When the WGA negotiations have been completed and the writers feel comfortable moving forward, then it'll be time to start talking about what's next for that. I mean, that's not. I mean, I put it in the news because, like, that's a direct quote from Chris Pratt and everything.
Right.
But like, everybody knows that movie's getting a sequel. That movie's like breaking like all the like records. And I haven't even seen it.
I haven't seen it. I'm gonna wait till it's streaming.
I'm gonna wait till it's streaming as well.
You know what? If you and I were to get the time machine to go back maybe 30 years, I think we would have had a blast with this movie.
Oh yeah.
Just 30 years. That's a good bubble.
I'm sure it's good, and I'll probably have fun watching it. I mean, well, probably. I don't know. I might be able to,
have a gummy.
Yeah, it'll probably be all right. But it's not something I'm going to pay money for. Maybe when it gets down to $5 if I'm just chilling and I'm bored, Anyway, so we talked about this briefly. There are rumors, I will use that word, about a Symbiotic Titan revival.
Yes.
Which I know you're a huge Symbiotic Titan fan. I did some digging, and it might just be because there was an interview with Tarkovsky, where he was discussing about how that's the show he wants to come back to. He said there's definitely going to be more Primal because that's already planned.
Right.
But the show he's trying to do and he wants to come back to is Symbiotic Titans.
So good. So I might have mentioned this once on the show what we actually did. So I'm an admin of the Titan Revival Facebook page. In our heyday, back when we heard that Titan wasn't getting renewed, it blew our minds because it was getting so good. And it was great because people who worked on the show actually supported the page also, and that's freaking cool. That's where Tara Strong got involved. She actually posted a comment on our thing.
Is she one of the voice actresses?
Yeah, she did Lana, one of the main characters. So, it's funny watching Unicorn Warriors Eternal. There's a lot of similarities in characters between the core group there.
I mean, same creator.
Yeah, you can see what his style is. But I actually went out to Cartoon Network with my picket sign, and I got scared away. But we actually led a campaign to Cartoon Network, and what we did was we mailed purple shirts because the main character Lancey wore just a generic purple shirt, and we got hundreds of people to send purple shirts to Cartoon Network, and I didn't put a return address on mine, and those who did actually got responses from Cartoon Network, hand signed by the CEO at the time, saying, "Oh, Symbiotic Titan was a great show, derper derper derp, though we appreciate your derper derper derp. Please feel free to enjoy some of our other content, derper derper derp." So it's the long game. It's the long game, Frosty. We have not forgotten.
If you're watching this or you do watch this, see if we can like send out to like everybody that like we follow and you follow and everybody, and we'll do hashtag restore the Symbiotic Titanverse. That would be fun. Maybe imagine if that got trending. That would be like dope as hell. I don't think it will.
No, Frosty, you don't understand. I am the admin of the Titan page on Facebook. There's tens of thousands of people on this page.
No, I understand.
I
I'm
can
just saying,
I
but to
can
get trending, that's like massive. But yeah, we'll try.
yeah. Shit, we'll do
Um.
it.
Anyway,
Yes, I'll
so
reach out
yeah,
to the old
hashtag
admins.
restored the symbiotic Titanverse.
Right.
Um.
Well,
Anyway,
we should shorten it.
I really because like I would leave it. I mean, what are you gonna do? Because you want it to say symbiotic Titan, and
Right.
then it's a play on the Snyderverse thing. So
Yeah. Okay.
that's what I yeah.
All right. Restore the Titanverse, symbiotic Titanverse.
Anyway, so Steven Spielberg wrote a letter to Craig Mazin to praise the episode 3 of The Last of Us, which was the episode with the it pulled away from Ellie and what's the name of it? Focused on the couple.
Yeah.
Anyway, like apparently like, he's blown away by that, and I mean, yeah, can you imagine getting a letter from Steven Spielberg being like, "Hey, that was an amazing episode of TV."
I'd frame that.
Like that would be like God coming in being like, "You're okay."
Wow. It's like how Moses felt.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, as fellow creators, you never know whose attention you'll get. That's freaking cool. Yeah, good for them.
Yeah,
I would frame that, have it notarized.
So this is kind of interesting. Members of the Authority are going to be introduced in Superman Legacy.
Okay.
So a little bit more information about that film. I'm really looking forward to it. Also, I don't know if you saw this because like a lot of people are like, "Oh, Gunn only does comedies." It's not true. He's done others.
No,
but he said that this is not going to be a comedy. I'm sure there'll be jokes in there, but
yeah, I mean, he has a way of.
But he's not doing the Guardian style kind of like,
right,
or even more specific Suicide Squad,
Yeah,
which is very like comedy based.
I mean, well,
although I think what I like about Gunn is he uses the comedy to balance like hardcore character moments,
right,
and which is what is the thing I like about him as a director. Anyway, so this is like
I'd say like Peacemaker wasn't really a comedy, but it had
well, it was. Come on, that had a lot of it was very silly. But the thing is, what makes you hesitate is it goes really hard to the opposite direction.
Right, it's a weird buoyancy that it has.
But see, that's what I like Gunn because he
Right.
can do that. Like most people can't.
Right.
That's why I think he's really good at what he does. I think everybody has their own thing that they're really like. If we're talking these like top tier directors, they all got stuff that they're good at. Anyway, so this one it's not a franchise I care about, but it's a franchise I grew up with. An animated Flintstones origin movie, Meet the Flintstones, is in the works at WB Animation. Aaron Horvath and Michael Jelinek, the Super Mario Brothers movie, they will write the script.
Okay. It'd be nice is to kind of see Hanna-Barbera have some type of resurgence because they had a lot of classic characters that a lot of people have just forgotten.
Yeah.
And the
but you can see these guys were like, holy shit, we hit it with Super Mario Brothers.
Right.
Let's write something else. Flintstones.
Right.
And yeah. The only thing, I mean, I'm glad they're going animated because I think that'll improve the movie. But I don't know. It's just not. I don't care about the Flintstones. Like even though I grew up watching it,
I grew up watching the Flintstones. I wasn't sure if I liked it or not back then. Like it was
that's
just something
right.
that was on.
I didn't. It was on,
but it was like. It wasn't for me, I guess.
Yeah, it
was weird. Like
it was a parody of the Honeymooners,
right?
Which like with a bang zoom right to the moon and all that. Yeah, it was that, and that was the thing. I think a lot of the humor. Well, it was a cartoon, so you just child brain sat there like,
right.
Like I think the humor was actually for people older than us.
Yeah,
and so
there's that disconnect.
Yeah. And I think that's why it was like. I mean, it got sillier later. I don't know if you remember. There was like aliens and shit. And see, fans of the show say that was the worst shit. my little kid head was like, oh, I like it when the alien shows up.
Right, because that was something
Yeah.
that was like, oh, hey, that looks silly and interesting.
Yeah.
God,
Anyway,
remember when
anyway, so that's gonna be around. Who knows? I guess rebooting it with a younger audience in mind, that would probably work.
is it going to
Um,
focus on Pebbles as the woke caviness?
stop! I'm done with all that. I just don't even
And
want
then
it
at
to
some
show.
point, she's going to whip out a pack of Marlboros and look directly at the camera for product placement because they did do that.
There was that old one where they're smoking
Yeah, well,
like
this
that
time it's
old.
going to be Pebbles and it's going to be woke.
Anyway, also in works is a new Leprechaun movie. It's in works at Lionsgate.
I would love. Is it going to be a remake or is it going to be a?
I have no idea. I just know it's Leprechaun and it's in works at Lionsgate.
I could feel like it could just continue.
Mm.
It can just continue.
That was a very silly franchise to begin with, and it just got sillier and sillier.
Oh,
My
Leprechaun in the
favorite
Hood.
line from the whole thing was when the guy was like the plot of this movie. I can't even remember which one it was.
Mm.
The plot was that the guy was becoming a leprechaun.
Okay, I think that was the fourth one.
I don't know, but then the leprechaun dude is like trying to convince him to be like, it's a come to the green side, and I was just like, oh man.
Somebody got paid for that.
Yeah.
A lot of people got paid for that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is interesting and something I didn't foresee. I would have betted against this. But Netflix has had the largest spike in signups since January 2019 after they introduced the new anti-password sharing crackdown rules. I'm surprised. I thought a lot of people were like, screw that, and like canceling subscriptions because of how like angry everybody gets. But apparently Netflix is such a necessary service. They were like, we have to do it, you know? Like, I was possibly sharing password with someone else, and I now no longer have Netflix.
Oh,
that's
okay. I'll just give you my password, Frosty. It's okay.
But it'll kick you off, or you'll have to pay extra.
There's a joke in there, Frosty.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah. Anyway, so I was surprised. I mean, which way did you think I was going to go?
I thought it was just going to do like a that.
Oh, okay.
Like I thought it was going to be like kind of like wibbity wobbly, and then just sort of like level out, maybe just a little bit above or below the let's call it the ballast line. I'm full of shit metaphor today. I don't know why.
Anyway, well, like, yeah. I mean, let us know.
I mean, but that's good. That means that they took a risk, and some CEOs are going to make lots of money. Good for them.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Good.
Well, let us know. Did you guys, anyone out watching, or did you pay for Netflix, or were you supporting someone? Did you have to get a new account, or like me, do you just not have Netflix? Honestly, the one I watch most is HBO, so I didn't really see a point in it.
Yeah.
Right now I have a Crunchyroll subscription, which I got to end, but it's pretty cheap. It's like $7.
Yeah, I have one of those that I got years ago, and it's not Crunchyroll, it's the other one. I forget what it is.
Funimation.
Yeah, and every time I get the two confused, so I'll go on to Crunchyroll thinking that I have a Crunchyroll, and I'll put in my information. It's like, your account doesn't exist. I'm like, yes, it does. And then I'll look up, and it's just a different app, but of similar colors. It's just, it annoys the fuck out of me.
Crunchyroll is like, it's like, anime, this is good. And then it's like, anime, this is okay. And then I'm like, yeah, okay, I need a break, anime.
Yeah.
I'll be back. And then like a long time goes by, and then I'm like, what the hell was I even watching before?
Right.
And then and that, I don't know. Why, like, it sucks because like certain shows like Claymore to me were like just so good. Why isn't there another Claymore, you know?
I got into what is it? Attack on Titan. Like that was like
Attack on Titan,
modern anime.
really
I think you got me into that.
Yeah.
Just
Attack on Titan, Claymore. It's just those ones are very few and far between. And like I kind of dug when I came back to Crunchyroll, Chainsaw Man.
So is that good?
it's kind of cool, yeah. Like it's still silly, and not silly in a super silly way, but like you know what I mean, like the characters' motivations and stuff. You're like, you do not like feel for any of the characters.
Right.
But then again, this dude has like crazy chainsaws that come out of his arms and forehead, and
Right.
then he like slashes shit to death, and it's super metal, and you're
Right.
just like, that was cool. And
Right.
none of the characters are stupid and annoying, so you can kind of sit through it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Claymore good, but I don't know. To me,
Where,
Claymore
where
was
does it
just
fall
so
on the
like,
scale of anime noise? Because you know what I'm talking about. That
yeah,
the
yeah.
anime noises.
I don't think it's bad, but it's almost too serious though. And then some of the things are cutesy, but whatever. It's not
Right.
annoyingly cutesy.
Right.
But it's just they're like the characters are too serious, and their motivations are stuff that you wouldn't like identify with.
Okay.
Yeah, and so like, yeah, that's what I mean. You're just kind of like, what? You're bored,
Right.
but then like all of a sudden, awesome chainsaws and the animation is slick as fuck.
Mm.
So the show is good enough that you can watch it,
Mm.
and then the animation. Actually, the best anime I've seen recently, I should get back into is. Oh God, what's it called? I'm sure there are people watching this would like be like, "Well, you idiot!" It's like one of the biggest one, like
Don't say
Demon
One
Slayer, I
Piece.
think
Don't
it's
say One
called.
Piece. Don't say One Piece.
No, 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 no.
Okay.
Demon Slayer.
Okay. Yeah. Demon Slayer.
I think that's what it's called.
Yeah. There's a Demon Slayer.
That one's actually pretty good, and the characters are good. And then yeah. Anyway, Home Alone 2. Yeah, just put this in as a joke. So, star of the movie Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Let me just see if I got his name right. Donald J. Trump has been indicted for a second time.
Good night, everybody. Oh my goodness. Moving on. So, what?
Universal and Illumination are reportedly closing a deal to make a Legend of Zelda movie. That's kind of
Nice.
cool.
Ooh. So.
Yeah, it makes sense though, because like Hollywood's like, oh, Mario Brothers is a hit. That means Legend of Zelda will be a hit. And it's like, no, dude, it has to be a good movie. Like, what don't you understand?
Right. So, God, I am happy knowing that in another dimension, another time and space, a parallel universe has Stevie at the helm of the Nintendo Cinematic Universe, and I'm like the Kevin Feige of that, because good grief, I have a great story, Nintendo, perfectly woven in for all of your franchises and dissecting it down to the lowest common denominator, which is family entertainment.
Well,
It is it's the family console. It is the root of all that is Nintendo. I have reduced it in this delicious reduction that would be the overarching theme of my Nintendo Cinematic Universe. Damn it.
Well, I mean, they seem to know what they're doing, at least right now. I mean, well, they know that like Mario hit. That's the
Right.
whole thing. And now like they're doing that whole like, oh, let's make another movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
I always think it's annoying because like as soon as something hits, they're like, well, that means this will make money.
So
And
how
it's
do
like,
you think they would handle Link, because he's always been the silent protagonist?
well, I don't know, make him talk, like, or just make it a running joke, or
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, he's talked before in that other show
In the
when we were
TV
kids.
show.
Yeah,
Excuse me, princess.
but also in that episode of Captain N.
Oh, right, but it was still the same dude. It was that Link.
No. It was it might have been the same voice actor, but that Zelda, that Link was more serious than the Excuse Me Princess one. Like by standards of back then, of
Right,
course.
by back then standards.
But he was different. Anyway, but
I vaguely remember that episode now. It
I mean,
was
look,
definitely the same voice actor.
They also
But
could go with, because I mean Breath of the Wild and then Tears of Hyrule are like the two like greatest games ever. Although really they're the same game. It's
right,
just Tears of Hyrule
it
is
has a different
more
mechanic to it.
features.
Right.
But yeah, I mean they could go in something like that style. You know, I felt like an idiot. I was playing that game
Mm.
and I was like, I want a horse, and you know, your hearts go back to the beginning of this game. It's a new game, right?
Mm.
And your so does your stamina. So I'm like chasing down horses, getting bucked off them. Like it's like, oh fuck, I might need more stamina to do this.
Mm.
I finally get one after like trying for like an hour.
Mm.
Ride back to the stable to like register it, and the guy's like, "Oh, I see you've already got some horses with us. All my horses from my old game are still in the stable. I
Oh
didn't.
shit!
I could have just been like, "Yep, give me my horse."
Wow.
I have a white horse with blue hair,
Mm-hmm.
and I named it Power Girl, and
Nice.
it's got like max everything, like
That good job, Nintendo.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
But
Okay.
you know what I found though sucks is like I spent forever building the perfect cart,
Mm-hmm.
and I hitched it to my horse and I rode, and then like I died, and the whole point of the cart I thought was to like save my shit,
Mm-hmm.
and then the cart's gone. And I was like, what the fuck is the point in this tow cable thing? I don't know. I'll figure it out. It's such a massive game.
Yeah.
Anyway, but a Zelda movie, I like Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
I guess there's a lot of directions they could go with it. I would be down for a Zelda movie though. That does
Yeah.
sound good to me.
Yeah. Just make it good. See, in my Nintendo Cinematic Universe, the Legend of Zelda movie would be the second of the franchise, and then I think Metroid was the third, followed by Mario 2. I think that's how I had it, or one of those. But yeah, love it. You know, eventually we'll get a Metroid movie and a Kirby movie.
Well, if this trend keeps going, yeah. Let's see. Oh, this one's kind of cool. I don't think you ever saw this show. Highly recommend from me. It's one of the few shows where like I read the book, but I still thought the show was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Good Omens is getting a season 2. That's on Prime. It's not only is it getting a season 2, but it actually premieres on July 28th, so very soon.
Okay. What's it about?
It's about the Omen. You remember that movie?
Vaguely.
It's where like the son of the devil's on Earth, and then like he's like this evil child and shit.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like a classic film. Yeah. Good Omens is that, but like the devil and the angel, the demon and the angel that are like in charge of this shit, Crowley and I forget the angel's name. They're like, yeah, like, but we don't really want to go to war, and like they've been enemies so long that they're buddies.
Oh, I know what show you're talking about now. Okay.
Yeah, and then like so the child gets in the wrong house and stuff. So like yeah, like my favorite thing is like when his hellhound shows up and to like do his bidding, it's like running through like the forest and scaring shit away, and then like it's waiting for its name because its name will identify who it is and what it's supposed to be. And the kid, and they're like, oh, so you're gonna have some like his friends are like, you're gonna have some kind of like Rottweiler or some shit, and he's like, nah, it's gonna be like this little yappy dog with like an ear that's inside out, and his name will be Dog. And so it like shrinks down and it becomes a dog. And then like later, like when it looks like the apocalypse is about to happen, the dog's like sad because it remembers hell, and like it was like scaring souls away was super easy.
Right.
Being here is where it's hard. He's like, I've almost gotten that cat across the street sorted out. Tomorrow I'm going to try jumping up and down sideways while yapping. And like, and so like, that's like what it enjoys its life and stuff. It's such a good book. And the show does a good job of capturing all that shit.
Nice. I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's really good. Well, you can watch season 1 on Prime right now.
Okay.
But yeah, that's really all I got for nerdy news. You got anything else?
Rumor, which means it's confirmed, and I'm not going to cite any sources. Y'all can just Google it yourselves, and that's how rumors get started. It is rumored / confirmed that Disney is uh, planning or thinking or mulling about selling the Star Wars franchise, and apparently they already have bidders.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't believe it.
Oh, I heard about this rumor, but I don't think it's true.
Right, but it is definitely true.
Everybody's talking about that on Twitter, and like they're like, "Oh, like Elon Musk, buy it," and I'm just like,
no.
"Elon Musk,
No,
like,
no, Elon, don't touch Star Wars. No, it
And the thing is,
belongs to the people.
I honestly, people like complain about Disney Star Wars, but I think George Lucas doesn't understand Star Wars, and I think that Disney fumbled out the gate, but like they're doing better, and like we'll see how it goes. You know,
Right.
they've got it where it's like, yeah, I'm into this shit now. Yeah,
They're course correcting in
yeah.
this. Yeah, hard left, hard left. Um, yeah. Do I think that they're going to sell it anytime soon? No, they just spent billions of dollars on it, and they haven't quite received the return investment yet. I don't think. Um, that doesn't stop other companies from approaching them, saying like, "Hey, Disney, here's a bag of money for that property y'all's blundering." I can see that.
I mean, that is true. You could license it to something like Netflix or
Right.
Hulu or any of those that are trying to like make their name. Because I feel that's where people are thinking the money is right now. But at the same time, like they're arguing there is no money in it, and that's
Right.
why they don't have to pay the writers. So I don't know. We'll see where all this goes.
Right. We shall see.
We live in
Definitely.
interesting times as
Right.
far as that's concerned. I
Um.
mean, also the technology as it moves through. Did you see that new Apple thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was dope as hell, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Um,
in 10 years,
stupidly expensive.
within 10 years, it's going to be half the size and affordable. That's where
Yeah,
technology's
well,
going.
yeah, it's definitely out of reach right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, well, shall we move on to something else? Do you want to do Behold Nerds, Battle Nerds, reviews?
Want to talk about unicorns?
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Shit.
Unicorn Warriors
Warriors
Eternal.
Yes.
We just had another episode drop.
Episode 7.
Yeah, it was good. It's like
World
where we
building.
got to explore what's her name? Emma before. We're experiencing the elf guy now.
Right.
And kind of his background. The only character we haven't really explored, which I only think they got one episode left or something, is the monk guy.
Right.
Saying. Which I'm wondering how they're going to wrap this up, or is there just going to be a season 2?
There's probably just going to be a season 2.
But yeah, it was interesting. They believe they stopped this evil, but clearly they haven't.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're trying to rebuild Copernicus, and then we find out kind of the sin of the elf warrior character in leaving his people behind.
Right.
Yeah, it was a cool episode. Then we got to see kind of like some of the lore,
Yeah.
like,
So
I built his sword.
I have a thing in Quantum that reminds me of like his father figure when he's like becoming a tree at the end. Like I have characters that are similar, kind of not to that extent, but similar characters in Quantum.
This show makes me think of like a really good game of D&D.
Yeah.
Because like the way the characters are, and not just because there's an elf character, but because like they each have different roles, different power sets. He's kind of the paladin character,
Right.
and like a really good DM would like weave in that story to your character story to the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so they've built these interlocking stories with each of these characters.
Right.
And then there's really cool action, and it's set in an awesome, the settings is cool steampunk setting.
Right.
It's a really good time.
Right.
I'm enjoying each episode as they come out.
Mm-hmm.
I've had different theories.
Yeah, I don't know what to think anymore. God, it's such it's a really unique show.
Yeah.
In terms of, like, the world, the characters are cool. I don't know where the story's going, because you think you're fighting this evil, and then it just turns into this whole thing where it just sort of opens up and introduces you to the rest of the world, which is weird because it takes place in some type of, like, I don't know, England, UK-ish type of European area, but then you travel into
Yeah,
the
it's
forest
like
and
it's a
there's
steampunk Europe,
yeah,
basically. Well, England, I would say.
yeah,
But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think there's a reason that they woke them up in these younger forms, and I think like maybe Copernicus knew that, and this is like his. He planned that because he's the only one that can't talk,
right,
and because if he did what they've been doing, it would have just continued. But he
right,
foresaw I have to do this way
right.
to
In order to prevent it,
defeat it. Yeah,
right,
like get these new versions of them.
right,
Um, but anyway, we'll see. But also, I feel like I said, like they the monk guy, like he's only like, are they gonna end it with him and that's gonna wrap up the whole story, or are we gonna get, oh, here's the monk guy's deal, here's the deal with the evil and all that
right.
next season,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um
So I
just on the episodes, like I think we only have one left. That's what makes me question it.
so I hope that
If
this
we had two left, then I would be like, oh, okay, yeah.
right, but even then, I don't think they could wrap everything up that cleanly in 2 episodes, let alone one, with everything
I
that they've
think if
established.
anyone
So
could, Tarkovsky could.
I, yes, I guess.
Because
However,
it's like each
do I
episode is
think
so strongly connected to the last
so?
one.
Right. So what I think he's doing is the key to a good story, especially something like this, when you have this universe, this world, is to slowly introduce people to the world and its mechanics and whatnot. And once all that's established, and then you can, go on to the next season. So hopefully that's what they're doing. That seems to be the strategy. Also, we have the loose end with the dude is a werewolf now. So
Yeah, I thought he would have been in the show sooner.
yeah, so
But
there's
I just mean, so like the way, if I'm guessing, based, if they are going with a season one, that one dude kind of sees through all things.
yeah,
And so you could see that his story connects everything together somehow.
yeah.
And that is his story. That would be clever. That's
That's a Gendy
beyond
move.
me.
That's a Gendy move.
But I'm just saying, like, I could see Tarkovsky pulling that off.
Right. No, he's brilliant.
Um,
He's so good at what he does.
yeah, he's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, just let him take my money. Can't wait for the next episode. I thought it was fantastic.
It's so good. It's a weird universe. It's cool, and a lot of Gendy, what he does, it's visual. The dialogue is very simple dialogue, but it's set upon these backdrops that are just gorgeous, and I love all of it. I want more.
I saw a meme this week that made me think of our show. I wish I could remember it better, but it was like they had some like British character instead of like posted over Fry, and it was like, "Be silent and take thine money," or like something like that. It was just so good.
That's funny.
It just made me also think of this show as well. Yeah. So yeah, it's a be silent and take thine money.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see the next episode. So do you want to do Behold Nerds or Battle Nerds?
You know what? Let's do Behold Nerds, because sort of writing that flow of just like weird universes and shit.
All right. So Behold Nerds is our weekly show where we take turns picking movies or TV shows to discuss. We encourage you to watch it along with us and join us in the discussion. It was my choice. I got to pick Valerian, the City of a Thousand Worlds.
Yes.
Cap has never seen this movie. He's also a big hater of Fifth Element, which was created by the same person. So that was kind of why I picked it, because I know Cap's a big sci-fi fan, and he'd never seen it, and I knew he hated Fifth Element. So I was interested to know what he thought of this movie.
So every time I watch movies like this that I haven't seen, because I'm writing this quantum thing, and every time I think I'm creative and come up with something, I'll watch something. It's like, God damn it, I have something like that in my universe. Now people are gonna watch this and be like, oh, you stole from that. It's like, no, I came up with this. And I hated the story, loved the universe. I hated the character, like the main characters, hated them, loved the universe. I could forgive the badness of the characters for how cool just everything functioned and behaved in this movie. Like, the whole opening of this movie was just so weird and so alien, and I loved it because you're just following the species of aliens just going about their day and just how they just go about their day. It was weird, but it's alien, so it feels weird. It's not supposed to feel familiar because it's alien. I like the premise where just this space station just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it just became like an amalgam of all these different civilizations. I thought that's cool as hell. There's a lot of great universe pieces in here. I just hated the main characters. I thought the story was interesting. I thought the whole part where they're in this market that is phased out of reality, and they have to use this two-way sort of like portal box so that they can exist in both like realities at once. Just really delicious sci-fi in this movie. I loved it, and I have a lot of similar shit in Quantum because it's dealing with stuff like that where you can phase between realities. You can just, you know, you're capable of doing just things that you can't really conceive until you see somebody do something creative like this. So everything else, I hated the characters. I just could not like them. I thought it was forced with, oh, marry me on a beach, and that was just 2 hours of that made me want to chew my own face off. But while I'm watching that, I'm also watching like these cool aliens and all these weird goobers. So it just, I loved and hated it. It was the slice of pizza where there's maybe one topping that's on there for some reason. I just let go and I just eat the pizza anyways and just enjoy the pizza. But I'm just like, oh God, there's an olive on here and I don't like olives. Yuck.
So I've seen, this is the third time I've seen this movie. I saw it once initially, and I was like, I think I had the same basic reaction that you did. The world, I was blown away. I mean, each time I watched it, I've been blown away by the world. But the world is amazing.
It is.
But and that was my takeaway the first time. The second time, I guess I paid more attention to the characters. And I didn't like it as much. Third time watching it, I just had a fun time. I thought it was great. The world once again blew me away. It does every time I watch it. But it was just a spectacle. And then the characters themselves, the main guy, I forget the actor's name. I know he's a decent actor and other stuff. I just don't think this was the movie.
He was trying really hard to be like a John Wick type guy. Like he dropped his voice a little bit.
It was like a Keanu Reeves,
very Keanu Reeves, but he was like a shouting Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. It was very. But the female one, Laureline. By the way, this is based on a comic, Valerian and Laureline. Anyway, the Laureline, I liked her. I thought she was pretty cool, actually. And then the other characters, I was mostly okay with. I didn't really have any issues with them. It was really just him. But the rest of the movie is kind of cool enough that I enjoyed. And to be honest, there's something I noticed this time that I didn't notice before. And I think this is why people didn't like this movie, besides maybe his character. It's kind of like a lot of little plots that add up to one big plot. But it kind of feels, again, like a comic book to me. It's kind of like because you're getting these like it's like
a detective sci-fi movie-ish.
Well, no, like it's like you're playing a video game. And you're given a quest, and the guy's like, "Oh yeah, you got to go over here and do this quest." And then you do that quest, and then you're like, "Oh, but then
you need to go and get the jellyfish from the sea captain guy."
And but that I kind of dug that about it this time.
Because
I have fun with that.
It shows off the world, and I liked it for that. Like I forgave it for that because like I wanted to see more of that. Like there's an ecosystem. There's these jellyfish that hang out here because it requires this oxygen in order to survive. I'm creating weird shit like that in Quantum, and I'm seeing it executed. I think if you were to take that universe and just tell a different story or find a better lead.
I don't even think the story was that bad though. Like
It's just
when I
the lead.
because
I guess the story's fine. So yeah, the story itself is fine. It just I feel like the movie could have been
it was
about
the
30 minutes
relationship
shorter.
between Laureline and Valerian, that and Valerian's supposed to be in this badass, and you just didn't buy it.
Yeah.
And then I think the other problem that people had is exactly what I enjoyed this time,
Hmm.
because you're not, unfortunately, audiences, fortunately, unfortunately, whatever,
Right.
when you're telling a story, an audience expects a certain thing,
Yeah.
and when you don't do that,
Hmm.
you're being creative, but people, there's a reason you don't do that,
Right.
because you piss off your audience. Kevin Smith, oh, by the way, he liked a tweet this week. I thought it was cool.
Nice.
um but Kevin Smith, he did the movie, oh god, what was it called, the one where it was like based on that, the Westboro Baptist
Red
Church.
State. Red State.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great movie.
That
Great movie.
anytime you thought the plot was going somewhere, he purposely went to the opposite direction, so you were constantly guessing.
Yeah.
That was the point of the movie.
Right.
That was his art, and people don't like that.
I really enjoyed that movie.
I did too.
I thought it was a great movie. I like that.
No, I did too, and I thought it was cool because, like,
It's telling the same story. It just shifts perspectives, and it eventually ends with John
Yeah,
Goodman.
but every time you're like, wait, what? The only problem I have with that movie, and I get why he didn't do it, but the most compelling thing would have been if he had the apocalypse happen.
Right, and they were right the whole time.
But he said the reason he couldn't do that was because of budget.
Oh.
But yeah, because he wanted to. So yeah, and that would have been what I would have dug seeing.
Right.
But anyway, but back to Valerian. So yeah, I actually really, really enjoyed myself this time. This is my favorite viewing of the movie. Because I guess their relationship didn't bother me because I already seen it a couple of times, so I was like, whatever. And
I feel
it
like
was
you
just
can watch this
everything
movie on
else.
mute. Like
No, see, like I didn't have a problem with the other characters. I enjoyed the aliens. I enjoyed their relationships. I loved Bubble. Like, and I actually thought once Valerian was by himself, going with Bubble and everything, like that sequence of the movie was good.
Right.
It's just I think the movie was a little disjointed, and then when it got back to them being together, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, but when they were separate, they were actually not too bad. And but yeah, and Bubble, I loved that. I loved her character. I fell in love with her. And I was like, and she just stole, like, as soon as she was there, you were just like, that's the character I'm watching.
So my favorite scene of the movie was when they are separate, and oh my goodness, the female, what was her name? Laura.
Laureline.
Yeah, Laureline. Where she's in this, she's captive, but there's this alien that's like, like holding up dresses. And it's like, no, and it's the weirdest sequence. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then it eventually cuts to the scene of this giant, like the king, the ruler of them, and they're bringing all these platters, and none of it's delicious enough. And then she comes out with this big frilly, like, not frilly, but this big hat, and she comes with like this platter with 2 lemons, and that's like what the dude wants. And then you see the top of her head and it's exposed. I'm like, uh-oh. Like, the moment I saw that, so there are moments that are kind of shot nicely in this movie. Yeah. And then he pulls out these big fucking shears. It's like, oh, shit.
I think the movie looks excellent. I can't. It was like I said, I think there's. This is one of those movies where there's a lot to admire. It has its issues. But there's so much, and like you mentioned, the opening that might be one of my all-time favorite movie openings. It was just done so well.
They follow
the music was perfect,
right?
And then following this station getting built and then sending it off into space, all to ground control to Major Tom,
right?
That it was just it's beautiful moment in sci-fi. I honestly think that's one of my all-time favorite, like, scenes, openings, whatever you want to say.
Right.
And then there's just a lot like then we go to that like you mentioned the market where it's in a different universe, so
Right.
you have to like
See, I
use
love that. I have shit like that in Quantum. Like, I love that.
yeah, but and then it's this big bazaar and
Yeah.
like the like I
We
just
follow the
they did
tourists.
yeah they did such a good job at all that stuff.
Right. Then
It's
they
just
even
yeah
explain how things get rephased back into reality through these boxes. Just there's weird little universe details that I love.
yeah yeah
It's so weirdly intricate. And for the first big action scene, you're just following this box with a hand because that's what the only part that's phased into this part of the universe. It was so weird, but it's interesting. It was
but and the action scenes were decent. I mean,
yeah.
I didn't really have any issues with them.
Except
Um,
for main Valerian, he just at the end with the sword fighting. It just I didn't buy it. He was I think he was the problem with this movie. I think if it was
I think he's a problem. I thought he was good in parts, like when he was like running through the thing in his suit and stuff like that. I thought that was
I
cool.
like that gun that weighed him down. Like that was
Yeah,
cool. Like just
yeah,
weird
that's what I
shit.
mean.
Weird shit like
He was.
that.
It was just like it's the part that crushes it is when he's like freeze FBI. And it's like it sounds like Keanu
Keanu
Reeves.
Reeves, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like,
Freeze FBI.
yeah, it's
Just
like a guy doing a Keanu Reeves
a
impersonation.
bad
I don't
one.
know
A
why
bad
they
Keanu
like. He
Reeves.
was like, "Hey, be Keanu Reeves," and
Yeah.
that
Oh.
guy's a good actor. He's
You know, he
another
is.
shit.
He was wasn't he the one in my goodness, that's what's the one where they all get superpowers and he goes nuts?
No, yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. He was great in that movie.
But anyway, so what's your rating? Because I'm curious
So
as to what you do it.
it's this is the first ever dual rating system because
Okay.
I feel like if I were to plop it in one basket, it just doesn't really reflect my feelings. This movie is visually gorgeous. The universe is absolutely gorgeous. The opening was gorgeous. Um, but Keanu Reeves, it just sucked me out of it a lot of the times when he was doing it, like freeze it behind this after like setting up this whole thing, and all of a sudden that's how it ended with it. Just, but then it would follow through with something really cool and just visually stunning and bizarre to look at. So, shut up and take my money. However, plop that one Valerian guy out, that actor, and the Keanu Reeves, and plop that into Death by Snoo Snoo.
Okay.
So that is my rating.
Honestly, I had a good time this time, so I'm just gonna give it a shot and take my money. You could if I had to sit with
It
you,
is a shut up and take my money, but I'm forcefully removing my issue with it so I can properly.
I understand. I'm just saying, it didn't bother me this time. It did before, and I get what you're saying. I can't disagree with you.
Yeah.
I guess I stopped caring.
Okay.
And like once you stop caring about that element, if like your pizza metaphor, it's like, yeah, I've eaten olives before. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I also don't like olives, but it's just like you just kind of like whatever.
Accept it.
Anyway, so yeah, let us know what you guys thought. Did you like it? So our next pick is suggested. Rob from. I'm sorry, Rob.
Project Impact.
No, not Project Impact. Fuck.
Scooby.
Oh God, I feel like such an asshole right now.
Just Rob.
Sorry, my brain is mush.
All right. So hi, Rob.
I'll find you because we were White Owl. Oh,
Okay.
there we go. So Rob, creator of White Owl Comics, currently trying to get White Owl book 2 out, The Bloody Path. I suggest you find him on Twitter. His handle is trying to find you at Rob0797. So yeah, check him out. His comics pretty cool. But he wanted us to watch Enemy because he said he watched it and he's like, oh, I got to talk about it with someone. So we will watch it. We will let you know what we think. Hopefully, you tell us what you thought. And
Enemy.
we have
What's it on?
I think it's on Prime.
Prime. Okay.
Anyway, so that'll be the movie we pick next week. I'll do a tweet letting you guys know that as well. So I'm sure you'll post something on Facebook as well.
Right.
Um,
Battle Nerds?
yeah, Battle Nerds.
Yes.
So
getting me dice. So Battle Nerds would be our weekly segment where we random roll from a list of characters and pit them together against each other in a death battle. Last week we had, was it Squirrel Girl versus Green Lantern? Yes?
Mhm.
Fuck that fight.
I thought it was good because like I like going up against the really powerful ones,
Right.
Because it forces me to get clever with what I do, and then my argument was the Green Lantern would win because like the crazy Hal Jordan with all the rings, like
Right.
he avoids fighting her
Just by
And I
giving her
thought,
own
like-
pocket reality to just go.
yeah, basically. And like, yeah, you don't fight Squirrel Girl, you just avoid the fight.
You don't engage.
But you guys voted, and the unbeatable Squirrel Girl moves on. How we're going down, pretty hard too. And I get why it's Squirrel Girl. But it was fun. It was fun to see it to go up against her. I enjoyed that one. So this
Rick
week
Sanchez would have been able to defeat Squirrel Girl.
I mean, yeah, maybe. Who knows? The votes go in ways I can't predict. Like this week we're doing Power Girl versus Jessica Jones. I got Jessica Jones. Cap has Power Girl. So Cap, why can which version of Power Girl?
I'm going with the same version of Power Girl I went with a couple weeks ago. Just because she's had several hundred different reboots, so just
she's got a lot, yeah.
Yeah. So, whichever one is painted on your wall, I think she would be sufficient enough to take out Jessica Jones.
Yeah, so you're going with like kind of like vanilla, I would say, comic book.
Yeah, Power Girl. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Jessica Jones. Basically comic book Jessica Jones. Maybe before she married Luke Cage and settled down.
Right.
She lost like she's got all her shit together, you know.
Right.
Anyway, so why can Power Girl defeat Jessica Jones?
I think Power Girl just throw Jessica Jones into space. Jessica Jones doesn't. She's not on the power scale of a Kryptonian, man. You know this. Jessica Jones can murder, or Power Girl can murder Jessica Jones from space with her eyeballs. Like, there's not much Jessica Jones could do unless she has kryptonite or something. But I don't know what Jessica Jones
All
can
right,
do.
well, I've thought about this.
All right. Bring in some Stark tech.
No. So Jessica Jones, right? So it depends on the situation, but presumably they run into some problem, they clash.
Right.
Power Girl, yeah, she could do something extreme like punching her in space, but this is not likely. She will punch the shit out of her. However, Jessica Jones is just tough enough. She's got decent durability. She's taken some hits.
Right.
That she could survive that.
Didn't hear no bell.
Yeah, well, no. I just got to get away.
Okay.
Then, I'm in my office drinking whiskey and like spitting it on my wounds, like, oh, that bitch is going down, right? I put on my fucking leather jacket. I ain't coming at you physically. No, I'm a fucking detective, bitch. I'm gonna plant evidence, figure out who you are, Kara Star, plant evidence like that your company is this horrible, evil company, get you canceled. Then I'm gonna work out like who you are. Superman's gonna he's gonna believe shit because I'm gonna plant evidence with him. And then you're gonna be like, oh no, and he's gonna be like, I can't believe you. You're no cousin of mine.
False flag.
He turns away. Now I've worked out you're a Kryptonian. So then right when you're begging for oh, I can't believe I'm in the lowest moment of life, I show up with freaking kryptonite and I'm like, round 2, bitch. And I can just beat the shit out of you. and then like I've won. So ha ha ha! Jessica Jones beats Power Girl.
I kind of want that to win. Um, but that isn't how it works. I honestly don't think Jessica Jones can even escape Power Girl.
I see. I don't know. She is. That's my question.
Like,
Could
can
she
she
survive
escape?
the initial round?
Does,
I
does,
think she can.
does she? Is
She's
there?
taken some hardcore hits. Her
Does she have the
durability
piss
is
and
decent.
vinegar to walk away from a battle like that? Yeah. But it's not up to us. It's up for the fans to vote. God, I love that though. Just destroy everything around her first. That's perfect. But yeah, that's all depends on whether or not she can escape.
Dude, that was. I was just like been thinking all week, like, how the fuck does Jessica Jones beat her? And I'm like, what are her powers? And then I was like, she's got detective powers.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, I can work with this. Like,
Let's roll for the next one.
okay. Hang on, let me.
I like rolling. No, that's not it.
You have to roll under a 36.
I rolled a 16.
Oh, before I announce, I did want to do this just real quick. These are the fighters that we have that are left remaining that haven't fought.
Okay.
It's Darth Vader, Han Solo, Godzilla, Tarzan, Lassie, Megatron, Iron Man, Gordon Freeman, The Mandalorian, Arya Stark. We just did Jessica Jones. She was her first time. Gizmo, the one I didn't want on the list, but he's on here. Eric Cartman and Zatanna. So those are the people who have yet to fight. Everybody else has already fought. You said you got a 16. Yep. Okay, you got returning one of my favorites, He-Man.
He-Man.
Let's see, 22. Oh, newcomer, and damn it, I'm pretty much an underdog every time. But I got the Mandalorian.
Ooh.
Any idea which He-Man you're going with?
Any idea which version of what Mandalorian you're going to go with? Because you can be
yeah, I think I know which one I'm going with. The Mandalorian.
Okay. I don't know. I'll see what. I don't want to go too overpowered. I might just go classic He-Man. No, I'll go Kevin Smith He-Man.
I don't want to be too powerful. Like fighting armies. Okay, so
no, we'll see. We'll figure out what.
I just want to write it down.
He-Man.
You should do the live action He-Man.
Yes, Dolph Lundgren. Yes, that'll do it. I'll do it.
All right. That's now it's a fair fight.
Yep, there we go.
Okay,
Dolph
so
Lundgren versus Pedro Pascal.
That's still Dolph Lundgren though. Like that dude is like a tank.
Gorgeous
Anyway,
specimen.
so what do we got left?
You just make noises at each other for
no, we have
40 minutes.
Left. Oh, how much time we got left? Oh, we got about a half hour. So we did Battle Nerds, Behold Nerds. Got a couple of things. You saw which movie that I haven't seen?
Oh, Avatar.
I've seen Avatar now.
Right? No, you just saw Avatar, so I like.
I'll say that one I remember. Did you see Shazam yet?
No, not yet. We have been busy and tired. That is the short answer.
That's a bummer.
But you did see Avatar 2, and I'd like to hear.
I did see Avatar 2 finally, so we can talk some Avatar.
Yeah.
So what did I think? It was cool. The story was good. The spectacle was phenomenal.
Yes.
I
wish this was the first Avatar movie, because this was definitely better than the first Avatar.
I thought the first one, the spectacle was also phenomenal. I guess look, okay, I had a really good time watching it. I was never bored. It never felt long.
Right.
I was super happy watching this film. It's definitely just should have taken my money. It's just it's not on the no, I don't know. I get maybe I'm being hard on the film. I really really enjoyed it. the There were parts where I was like, wait, what? Like, I saw other people talking about this, but like, how could you not?
Mm.
Like the end movie, they're all like, yeah, we're all banded together to take them down, and they attack, and it's the big final battle,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, like all of their allies just bounced, and it was just them, even though there was only like one or two soldiers left. Like, where did you guys all go?
Right.
That would like, oh, there was fire on the water, and like, what? No. You swim under the water, jump up, stab the guy. Something. I was just like, that made no sense to me. And then also his motivation of being like, oh, the guy bounces, right?
Mm.
And he's like, oh, I'm gonna live along the water people, and we're just gonna fuck this battle.
Right.
So why did the human military care? I get that one character had a grudge,
Mm.
but why was she like, yeah, you got to go after him? Like, why? He's no longer there. You won. You beat him. The resistance is a different dude now.
Right.
Like, why is he your top
Because
priority?
they're
Not
evil. The movie needs an evil military-esque
well, they were already evil, but like I'm just saying, their aggression was misplaced.
Right.
Um, and that I didn't buy that, but there was again, it was awesome.
Gully, the 3-hour sci-fi spectacular.
Yeah, I mean, it was still awesome though. I like the little plot about the whales and stuff. I enjoyed that part.
Yeah, it was cool.
I thought them like trying to murder him was a bit extreme. I was like, what? Like,
because
like the bullies or whatever. Yeah, but I mean,
that's such a tropey thing with like
it is.
Yeah,
I like Spider, which is a weird thing. I normally don't like those characters.
Critter kid, yeah, Critter.
Yeah,
I call him Critter.
But he was kind of like he only looked little because like those were huge,
giant people, right?
Yeah, and I like that they pulled it off. He had a kind of like halfling kind of feel to me.
Right.
He was also a kid, like, but it was cool.
The only character I didn't get and just couldn't figure out why they were there was Sigourney Weaver's character, where she's like a reincarnation character with powers or something. Because
I didn't have a problem.
I thought she died in the first one, but now she's in a pod and she's remote controlling this Navi character, but she's a kid, but it's Sigourney Weaver. It's weird. I don't know.
I think it works with the spirituality of the movie, and to have that character that's connected and blah blah blah. I don't know. I didn't have a problem. I didn't really have a problem with anything. I guess. And like I said, I had a really amazing time. I would probably watch it again. And I actually recommend this movie. Totally do. It's got my stamp of approval on it. Just for some reason, it's not like what there. I don't know. God, I wish I knew what it was.
So, did you notice the thing with the weird frame rates where certain scenes just didn't look visually similar to others before them? Like, there's the one scene where they cut to Spider and he's fighting the dudes on the bridge, and it looks like something out of a soap opera where it's shot very flat, but then it cuts to this big CGI spectacular, and it keeps cutting back and forth between the two.
I mean, I know it was shot at a high frame rate. I thought that made it look cool. I didn't have any problems. It was all gorgeous. I guess I just feel like maybe I wanted more. Like especially with the ending, like it was just that one boat with those few guys against that small tribe, and like I was expecting like something grander than that.
Like, where's the Star Destroyer showing up and just
Yeah,
like an
like
orbital strike? Like,
I was expecting like all the Na'vi tribes to unite together to take down their common foe.
yeah.
Though I did, but what I got was still really cool.
Mm,
And I really liked the whale fighting and shit.
that was cool.
And like I said, I liked the subplot of the whale, so that was good. I liked the subplot, and I thought it was they did a good balance between following the kids, but also having the parents still there. Like I wasn't missing any character.
Right.
His motivations, though, like
Well, the
I don't
Jake
know.
character didn't really have much personality to him, anyways. The main character from his
Yeah,
name Jay, he's a boring character. So to focus on the kids, they were more interesting than the lead. So
yeah, but I mean, I thought he was all right. I thought he did a good job. Again, there was nothing I disliked about this movie.
mm,
It's just it's missing some kind of spark, and I don't
yeah,
know what that is.
yeah.
But I still highly
I'll
enjoyed
tell you
it.
exactly what it is. You're waiting because it is a James Cameron production. You're waiting for like just a cargo ship to plop down, and it's going to say Wayland Utani on it, and I'm going to go ee, and you're going to go ee, and remember make squealy noises because then James Cameron would have connected the two universes. His glorious.
Nah, I don't know. I don't know. This one feels like a different vibe to that.
Right, but see,
I did love that exosuit. That
right,
chick was
it's sci-fi, but set in the not too distant future, so things aren't like super high tech.
Oh,
Like things still
here's a
are
question
familiar.
I have.
Mm.
The goo that makes you live forever, and now it's the most valuable goo ever
Yes.
inside the whales.
The goo.
But they were like, it's so hard to get to, and like you had to go through all these crazy things. How did you guys ever figure that out? Like how did anyone figure goo brain
goo from the
Yeah,
whale
like
on the planet where everything wants to murder you?
yeah,
I don't
like
know. How did somebody figure that out? Maybe it was like a Na'vi thing. Maybe they figured it out first, and then humans were like, hey, we want to live forever, and they found a way to like extort that or exploit that.
but the Na'vi, I don't know. Like anyway,
I don't know. I mean,
but it
because
was,
you think of it, they'd have to die, right? The whale
yeah.
monsters. So what happens to the brain goo after they die? What is the ceremony behind that? So maybe one of the Na'vi during this ritual, or maybe there's like an embalming process. I don't know, where they just extrapolate all the juices, and on a jar somewhere in some jungle, there's just brain fluid from a
whale
space
goo
whale.
thing. So you're saying like it was just pure luck,
Yeah,
like
it's
that
just
they came across it.
right.
I don't know, but I thought it was all right. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Just shut up, take my money. Can't argue with that. It was a good time, and I think other people should check. Well, it was awesome, and I could tell it's definitely a movie I could also watch again, and I've thought about watching it a second time since I watched it.
I've thought about it.
It fits in with like not Batman, the Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah,
Both movies I really enjoyed, but both movies that like I guess
they
because
require
it's
some dedication. Like
it requires
that is
dedication.
time out of your
yeah.
day that you need to sit and just be left alone for 3.5 hours while you just.
Yeah, I mean, I have the time because of my life, but like, yeah, it's just it also requires that I feel like I need to pay attention to it, you know. Whereas some movies you can just put on, like I watched The Meg recently, which is just a silly underwater monster flick,
Right.
but that you can just have on in the background and you can like kind of enjoy it when you want to and then look away and it's fine, you know.
Right.
But yeah, it was all right. So you haven't seen Shazam yet? That's a bummer. So we talked about this originally, but so myself at Real Super Killers and at Rob0797, we got into this long debate. It was like they were like, oh, it's one for the ages and like this. It just kept going on and we kept going into like tangents and shit. But the point was, yeah, there's a scene in the new Transformers movie where like Prime shoots a dude and then like he's like, please let me live or some shit. And then he's like, fuck you, and shoots him again.
Right.
and Rob like was like, "Oh, this is like why it's stupid to have heroes don't kill, like because they totally support Prime
Mm-hmm.
and his decision." And then we started talking about Snyder and Superman, and then the did you see Superman versus the Elite, the animated movie?
Uh, did that come out recently, or is that one of the older ones? I don't
It's
think I've
older.
older. I might have.
It's the one with like the British guy who's a telekinetic, and like it's all about like Superman deciding whether or not he should kill.
No,
And
I don't
then
think I've seen that one.
we also started talking about Batman with like Red Under the Red Hood, you know, where
Yeah, with Todd.
that he was like, yeah, like he wanted revenge and killing Joker,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he's like,
yeah.
why didn't you kill him? Think of all the people you would
Right,
save if you just killed
right.
Joker.
That was a
And
great
then
movie.
people, yeah, well, so those guys are very much on that side of the argument. They think that Batman should kill Joker. They think that Superman's totally just in snapping Zod's neck. They think that Prime in that moment, shoot,
Mm.
shoot, this guy is going to try and kill all of this planet. And this is
Uh,
totally justified.
see, I feel like that, like them giving into that is what doesn't. It sullies the character. I think like those types of characters, because they're gods, they should be above doing that. So there's always another way. I don't
Well,
know. Like especially
I think having a character, because like, okay, compare Superman to Thor.
right,
Thor is going to kill you.
right,
Superman is not. Well,
right. Well,
obviously there are
they're two
versions that
different
would.
characters, right? But they're two
Yeah, yeah,
different.
but I'm talking like the core kind of what we think of as Superman and Thor,
Right,
right?
right,
So yeah, Thor would kill you, Superman wouldn't.
right,
Both of those characters are fine,
right,
but I like them for different reasons.
right.
And that, like, what I like about Superman is that he doesn't kill.
Right.
I like that because that's what makes him interesting.
Because
He
he has all
could,
this power, he can kill you, but that's not the point of his character. It's
yeah, and he's tested on that,
right.
and like, and it's that's a struggle for him. And another thing that like,
It's like
'cause
Spider Man. With great power
yeah,
come great. It's Spider Man.
that's what I said. I compare it to
Right.
Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility, because he's another character that
Right.
killed that doesn't.
Right.
To the old like Nordic might makes right,
Right.
because in one you can justify, yeah, because you're saying I can choose
Right.
instead of like we can choose,
Right.
like that's like what, but that's a whole other argument.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's such a like rabbit hole,
Right.
because you're like, we were like, should he go to jail or should he just be killed, and like, and it was just going that way, and like I was just like, and then they were like, wow, like, yeah, we're talking fictional characters. I'm like, I know that, like, and that's where it got. It was crazy,
That's
but
awesome.
yeah, I do think that the thing I admire about Superman, the reason I like the people who write him
Mm-hmm.
in the manner where isn't a killer,
Right.
is because he goes through those kind of
Right.
crises
Right.
over this. Because like another one is like it makes logical sense, because it's like, oh, if he kills Zod, okay, argument that Zod's going to kill more people.
Right.
Well, who's next? I mean,
Right. But see,
he can kill.
that's why I liked Injustice so much, because it explored that rabbit hole of what would happen if Superman fell down that rabbit hole. And
Yeah, and I don't even
that's
mean
exactly
like
what,
he's gonna go on a.
and that's the one thing that keeps Batman in check is, once you kill one, where do you draw the line? And Batman knows that line. And
Mm,
so that's why it was interesting throughout all of Injustice. Batman held that line, and he watched as Superman fell down the rabbit hole. Like it's just, I like that, and I know it's an
and I kind of think it's interesting when characters have hard rules like Batman and guns.
right,
Like, one of the cool things in Batman Beyond was when his character,
had to
you find out
had
why
to
he stopped being
had to
Batman
rely on a gun in order to
is because, yeah, he had to rely on a gun, and that ended Batman,
right,
and like that's kind of makes him an awesome character, like
right,
that's like way better
right,
than just like, oh, he uses guns now,
right.
you know.
I really enjoyed Batman Beyond. I think that was a very underrated
Yeah, it's well, a
show.
lot. It's got a lot of love. That's a series that people definitely have a lot of love
And the movie
for.
was fantastic, but oh, I love that movie. Yeah, the Batman Beyond movie. That's gonna be a Beholdners one of these days. I haven't watched that in a while.
Yeah,
No, but
but
it's exactly that where he crossed that line, and he knew that once he crossed that line, where do you go? So for him to hang up the mantle like that, that's perfect. Beautiful,
mm,
beautifully told. And then, here comes Terry McGinnis, who I love him as a Batman because he's not Batman. He's
mm.
Terry McGinnis, so he's not trying to be Batman.
But he's also Batman because
Well,
like
yeah, he's like a
he's very much
clone,
like I am Batman, like
right? I mean, he's
I
Batman, but
think, but
he's his own
like
Batman.
okay, it doesn't matter who you are if you get the mantle
Mm.
of Batman. You say I'm Batman. You no longer say like that's your line now.
Right.
And then that's the problem. If you get too many Batmans in a room, though, they're all gonna be like, I'm Batman. I'm
I'm
Batman.
Batman.
I'm
I'm
Batman.
Batman.
Well, that's the thing. When you're Batman, you say I'm Batman. Like
Right.
that's I don't care. Like 'cause people get in these stupid arguments and like, oh, this is blah blah blah, and this is a different character.
Right.
No, once you get the mantle of the bat, you say
are
I'm
Batman. Right.
Yeah.
Batman is a mantle. Spider-Man is a mantle. Thor is not
Well,
a mantle.
remember they did Batman Incorporated for a while, where it was like a
Yeah,
bunch of Batman all over the world.
that was cool.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, some people didn't like it, but whatever. I thought it was cool.
I thought it was cool. I had a few
Um,
of those comics.
yeah, I like. I mean, I like Batman as a comic. It's like you can pretty much always enjoy a good Batman comic.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah. Anyway, back to the no killing thing. So yeah, like for me, the interesting thing about that character, like you said, is the fact that they are capable of doing this, but they're holding back.
Right.
And then like, yeah, like in my mind, it's like, oh, should he kill Luther now? Because like,
Right.
same logic is odd.
Right.
Oh, and then I brought this point up too, because I honestly thought this. Rob was like, "No, you're wrong," and I was like, "Am I though?" And Snyder came out and said this. Even with Snyder saying this and about his own movie, I'm still like, "Am I wrong though?" Because if I'm wrong, then you messed up because that scene didn't tell me this.
Right.
In Batman versus, I mean, in Man of Steel, he snaps Zod's neck. I'm so frustrated I killed.
Right.
Then in Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice, they're fighting terrorists in the beginning of the movie, and Superman, like Lois has got like he's like got the terrorist got his gun to the neck of the Lois, and then like she like gives him the wink or whatever, and then Superman hits the dude at like Mach 20,
right, and just explodes
two brick walls.
Right.
I was like, oh, that dude is dead.
Right.
Like, and then later in the movie, like he's like, oh, I didn't kill those men. And I was like, yeah, you did. You totally killed that guy. Like you killed the shit out of that guy.
Right.
And I just thought like he meant he didn't kill all the other guys but you killed that dude.
Yeah.
And then like Rob's like, no, he didn't kill that. And Snyder's like, oh no, he was just hurt. I was like, bullshit.
You were hit by Superman through two brick walls. You are goo.
They're saying like, oh, what if he used his fist first and then like he just like carried him with him? Superman is like solid steel. Like you get hit that fast, you're dead.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. So
no,
my interpretation of that was like, oh, now he doesn't care anymore. Like, I thought that's where that version of Superman was going, but I guess I'm wrong.
I refer to what I said earlier with how I would handle Superman, with him using his power in different ways. He can do he can do it all. Just it's about him rising to that occasion to do it. He doesn't need to kill. I mean he can kill, but that's not that Superman.
But I think it should be easier to kill than not to with him,
right?
Because that's kind of the point. Like
he's a Kansas farm boy first. That is who he is.
He would become the arbiter of life and death, and nobody like Then this is where it kind of got into the weeds a bit. Because I was saying like because they're bringing up other examples, and I'm like, and then it's like, is there a difference between like an executioner that's like now it's my turn to kill you.
Mm,
Or not now it's my turn. Now it's my job to kill you because you've gone through a trial and everything.
right.
To just a guy saying, I'm powerful, therefore I can kill you.
Right.
And I do think there is a distinction there between those two things.
Mm,
And also, like, it also like it depends on what your hero wants to do.
right.
Because let's say I'm like I run into Spider-Man
Mm,
and like he thinks I've done something bad.
right.
Uh I'm not scared of Spider-Man so much. I would be like, no, 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 no. Like,
Yeah,
let me
you can
explain
explain it.
my. If I ran into Judge Dredd though,
Yeah. Your ass is gonna
my
get in an
face,
ISO cube.
my
Like,
face is gonna be punched into my skull, and then I'm gonna wake up in an ISO cube, and I might die because of just him
the
deciding that
impacts.
I'm gonna die.
Right.
Because he can just kill me right there on the spot.
Right.
And so, and both those characters are interesting to me, but like that's what I mean. Like to say one character isn't as interesting as the other is incorrect in my opinion.
Right. Um. Yeah. One of my favorite versions of Superman, however, is Injustice Superman because I like seeing how the tragedy affects him. Like
Yeah,
there's a tragedy to it, and I like characters with that type of tragedy. Um,
I think
however,
Injustice did a good job in like you're like, well, how could Superman do that?
right,
And
right,
then like you're like, oh, they went there. Like, yeah, I
right,
could see that. It's like in Old Man Logan, the comic.
yeah,
Like you're like, oh, how would ever Wolverine ever become a pacifist? And you're like,
right,
oh, that's how. Yeah,
because
that makes sense.
Mysterio tricked him into murdering all of his friends. So yeah, it's like that. That's a great comparison. It's an old man Logan style story, just told from the reverse end.
Yeah,
Um, so
but what I mean is, this they convinced me. They gave
yeah,
me a reason that I bought.
yeah,
That I accepted it.
right,
And because at first I was like, wait, what? No, and then I was like, oh,
right,
and yeah, I buy it. I buy that's what breaks Superman.
right. But
Yeah, they're both good books. I highly recommend. It's funny how different. Someone was saying like they were like, "What's a movie that's better than the source material?" And they were
mm,
like, "Old Man Logan versus Logan the movie."
mm,
And I think the movie's better than the source material. Other than them being old, I don't think you can compare the two at all. They're
mm,
so different.
yeah, they're different.
I
Um,
mean, yeah, like I mean, one is very fantasy, the Hulkins and shit.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, but I don't know. Snyder's Superman kills. Snyder's Batman kills and uses guns. I am not a fan. That's my answer. My the
I'm fine with that. And I actually enjoyed it, like because I'm okay with it being a different version.
uh,
Um, but my argument is the one I prefer because I'm
mm,
like it's cool and I can accept it.
right,
But the one I prefer is the altruistic. I don't kill,
right,
and maybe I even get tested on it, but I do not cross that line.
right.
I think that makes him an interesting character
Well, that's why I like
because
the Batman or not the Batman the Superman adventures. Like they capture that pretty well, where he just didn't overexert his power. They nerfed him a lot in that actually. Like
they did,
yeah,
yeah. But I mean, he's always nerfed outside of the comics. Comics, like you expect those ones to have the highest power level,
right.
and then you're like, and then it goes from. I saw this one thing. It was, do you think Black Suit Spider-Man could defeat Batman?
No,
And there was no specific
no.
version of Batman.
So no, for one reason that sound. Batman has sound devices that can disrupt
Yeah, but
the signal.
even if he gets the suit off him, he still got Spider-Man. I think against base level, I'm in my regular costume. And yeah, black suit Spider-Man, I think Batman gets stomped. And then people are like, "Oh well, prep time," and I'm like, "Yeah, but Spider-Man does the same shit, and
Right.
they're just as smart as each other.
Right.
Spider-Man might even be smarter." And so like, yeah, that argument's dumb. The argument I have for Batman is you put him in the right suit and he crushes.
Right.
And he's got crazy powerful suits.
Right.
So like, I mean, like Hellbat, the
That he could
Insider.
that he can summon. So one of those things
Yeah.
where if the two of them were to skirmish, let's say Batman were to somehow use a sonic attack to disrupt Spider-Man, he's like, holy shit, and forces Spider-Man to retreat. Freaking Batman can just be like, Alfred, send down the Hellbat. It's like,
I don't
Roger.
know if you can do that. It's on the moon, but anyway, he could come on. He could get him in a
Get the
suit.
Justice League, get the Wayne Corps satellite above, and monitor
Whatever.
him.
Get him in a suit though, and yeah, he does stomp.
Right.
And that's my point. But that he can win. People saying that he couldn't win. I was just like, nah, I mean, he can totally win.
Right.
But normal version of Batman can't. Although, like, Super Killer, Real Super Killer was saying that, like, Batman Brave and the Bold, Batman could win. And I was like,
okay.
I mean, like, yeah, like he was saying, because that one like was like soloing Darkseid, like, and I was like, yeah, but see, like in the lore of like DC that they set up with Darkseid as a character, that's like a shadow, avatar of Darkseid that's kind of silly too, and like, and so. Yeah, I mean, I guess you can argue cartoon physics and everything, but
right.
I don't know. I still give it to Spider-Man just because he's on paper, I guess. I mean, I get what you're saying. You're probably right. Yeah. Another one that came up was, do you think the original 6 Avengers could take on Zod?
So that's Ant-Man.
No.
No. The original Avengers. Are we talking about the cinematic or in the comics?
The cinematic, the MCU.
Cinematic. Okay. Sorry.
MCU versus Snyder Zod.
They have Thor, yo.
Yeah, so you got Thor,
Iron Man,
Hulk,
Hulk and Iron Man,
Cap, Black Widow, and Hawkeye versus Zod. Possibly his two, what's their names?
Ursa and Ursa and what's her name?
Ursa and Namek. Yeah, so those two guys. They're.
I did love Ursa in the Snyder movie.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, she was.
But I argue they can, and like because I was like, well, Thor's got magic. Kryptonians are weak against magic.
Right.
You got Hulk tanking.
Right.
And then Tony could probably figure out Sonics.
Right.
That's another Kryptonian weakness. So I was like, yeah, they could probably take down Zod. And then like White Owl was like, well, Namek and Ursa would kill Hawkeye and Black Widow. And I was like, on paper they should, but those two have like Batman physics powers,
right?
And so like
I have an arrow for that.
Yeah, like they would like, I could see like the chick grabbing like Widow and like choking her, but then she like zaps the mask, and then all of a sudden Hawkeye fires expanding foam in her mouth, and she's like, bah, and she's like choking to death.
Right.
And then like the big guy lands next to him, but then like they set up a line between a passing jet and he, whoa.
Right.
And like they just had like that kind of
that kind of like on the spot ingenuity to like
like they're better fighters, I guess.
They're craftier.
They shouldn't win, they're just better than you.
Right. They're more crafty because with Ursa and whatnot, they're brawlers. They're not strategists per se. I mean they are, but they're Kryptonians going to get up against a human, so they're very. So you'd have to.
Yeah. And then I was like, and then I was like, also like what Cap should do if he figures it out is like fucking grab the freaking hammer of Thor, gain Thor power, and then like him and Thor like passing back and forth their weapons. So like using the shield to block and like deflect eye lasers and then like hitting them and taking turns with hammers and shit.
Right.
So I could totally see the Avengers.
Absolutely, the Avengers can take him. Oh yeah.
But yeah, it was a fun thought puzzle. Like I definitely think that the Kryptonians are more powerful, so I immediately side with the Avengers.
Right, but then the Avengers, they got that ingenuity, yo. They're crafty. they're silly willies. They got that 90s-esque Home Alone style ingenuity, just thinking on the fly. They're adaptable.
I do think that the two Kryptonians fighting Black Widow and Hawkeye, it does remind me of Home Alone.
Right.
Because like they're the adults and they're the more powerful, but like it's like plong and they're like
just getting frustrated.
Yeah, exactly. Because like they drop?
But then you know what? I could see them dropping one of them, and then let's say another one comes and grabs both of them by the necks or something, and it's like, oh, you miserable humans, whatnot. And then all of a sudden Hulk comes out of nowhere and just smashes a dude down in the head and just forces to release him. I could see
it
that.
It would be cool. I would be cool to see Namek and because he's the big dude fight Hulk.
Yeah.
That would be a cool battle. I would definitely enjoy that. Throwing that into the mix. I think the big advantage they have though is Thor.
Oh, of course.
They were saying though that like someone said, well, but they're not magic in the MCU, and I'm like, they pretty much are now. Now there's gods and stuff.
No, they did say that there's magic because Natalie Portman in the second movie said, "Oh, blah 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 blah, it's magic," and it's like, no, it's this, it's science. So yeah, it's the thing with Thor is that it's science. It's just they call it magic.
Yeah, but that was old MCU. Now MCU is like, no, they're gods. And then you're like, oh, what about Mjolnir? Oh, it's totally magic. Yeah, check it out. Floats around, talks to him, and like the spell like changed and stuff like that. It's just the MCU, early MCU, they couldn't do that, and like they were restricted because they needed to make it more realistic. MCU's been around long enough now that they're like, yeah, fuck it, there's real gods. Here's a whole city of gods, and some of them are really weird and silly.
Right.
And like, and yeah, I understand why people. I don't know if you heard this. Like Chris Hemsworth says he thinks that the reason Love and Thunder, which still I defend that movie, I really enjoyed it. He thinks the reason that people didn't like it is because they were just super fucking around the whole time. They're like, you know what would be hilarious? Let's do this. And they're like, yeah. And that's why like the jokes went that hard.
Right.
I enjoyed the jokes though. So like, I don't know what to tell you. And then the stuff that was cool. I imagine it must have been like the weirdest movie to work on though, because everyone's like, this is super fucking goofy weird. And then you have
double down on it, go hard.
What was the villain's actor's name?
Oh, Christian Bale.
Yeah, Christian Bale, who was like super in character and like, and he never breaks character, so he's like on set just like hardcore acting the shit out of everybody else.
Right.
And they're all being these goofy ass bastards. Like, I mean, I just think it would be the weirdest movie to be part of.
That's great. Oh, to be a fly on that wall. Hold on one second.
That's kind of why I like it. That's kind of why it has charm for me. Like, it's this weird, awesome, fantastical adventure, and there's just I can enjoy a silly Thor story, you know.
Right.
I mean, some of the jokes fell flat. Like I thought the Van Damme splits thing was a little over the top.
It's forgive me. You know what it reminded me of was my goodness, what's that one? It was on YouTube. The one with the laser raptors and Odin, the Time Cop. Which one was that?
Oh yeah,
what was that called?
Kung Fury.
Kung Fury, yes, Kung Fury. It was very
Kung Fury was way more hardcore.
Oh, of course, but just the splits, just that one moment. It's like, Kung Fury.
Yeah, Kung Fury was
explains
great.
The laser raptors. Are
I
they
just
making a
love
sequel
it.
to that?
Like it had like everything. They're like, here's your new partner, Triceracop, and and then like it just got so weird. Oh, the friendship. Yeah, like and then, like
It's
yeah.
so good.
And they call Thor, and then he's like,
Right?
"Oh yeah, like nice muscles." And he's like, "Thanks,
Thanks,
bro."
bro. He's like showing them off.
And the plot was they had to go back in time to
Stop Hitler.
stop Hitler. Yeah, and like, oh god, it was so weird. And how did he go back in time? He's like, he's hacked
Hacker
time.
man.
Yeah. He's all
Oh man.
riding on like that fucking thing. I just and even the beginning part where like him leaping out of his like penthouse and shooting the doors to his Lamborghini open and then dropping in.
Of course. It's awesome.
And then he's like surfing on his Lamborghini. That was what made that movie great. That
Right.
was the charm of that movie.
Right.
I see what you're saying. I think that one goes harder.
Right. I mean, yeah, of course it goes harder, but I plop it in similar vibe esque where it's just going little, just a hair needle over the hardness. Hold on, trying to do something here. But I don't know. I'm seeing Spider-Verse tonight. I haven't looked into anything. I haven't read any reviews. I'm going in completely blind. I'm excited for it. Going to the luxury theaters down the street. Have you heard anything? Apparently, it's like the best Spider-Man movie
Oh,
of all the Spider-Man movies.
crushing. It's crushing. Yeah, we talked about it last week. Actually, it's breaking all the records.
But just how woke is it?
Can we? I want to retire that word from the show, please. I'm so sick of it. And then yeah, I mean, I guess like wrapping up, like we'll hear your spoiler-free review because I probably won't get to see it.
Right.
And then we're gonna be watching Enemy this week. And then we will be discussing He-Man versus Mandalorian next week.
Dolph Lundgren He-Man versus Pedro Pascal.
Or Pedro Pascal. Well, he's the only Mandalorian I know.
Oh.
I mean, I guess there's other Mandalorians.
I mean, there are other Mandalorians. I could say Boba Fett. That is a Mandalorian.
Yeah, true. But
you say Bo-Katan now wields the dark saber, so she can go toe to toe with He-Man.
I guess there's an argument you could pick another one, but when I wrote them, I meant the Mandalorian from the Mandalorian. And then yeah, we'll put up polls. Well, I don't want to put up a poll because that'll be two polls going.
Yeah.
So
no, we can have two polls going. It's fine.
I guess I pinned one to my profile though. That's why.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, so well, there'll be a poll for who you thought won this one: Jessica Jones using her detective skills versus Power Girls. She's a Kryptonian. That was your argument.
I mean, she's a Kryptonian. I mean, how hard does she need to fight? She can. A human with. I don't know, what day is it today? Like a Tuesday? Oh, it's Tuesday morning. Gotta go stop this lady from doing a thing.
She's not a human. That's the thing. Well, anyway, you heard the argument.
Right.
And then yeah, Jurassic Park, The Mask, or we're not doing Jurassic Park, but you can pick between The Mask, dinosaurs, a dinosaur movie, The Mask, or I kind of want to say like an adventure film as well for doing that.
So I feel like I could do like Indiana Jones isn't hard to tell. Just tell a fun adventure movie with Indiana Jones.
But does it have to be Indiana Jones? Because then you have the same problem with Jurassic Park.
Well, right. Have it be Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones is the 007. He is the Jack Bauer.
I see what you're
saying. Just tell a fun Indiana Jones adventure movie. I think that'd probably be the easy stuff because use what
you're just saying. Like this is a new adventure he goes on.
Right. That's
because you're not limited by having like modern.
Right. That has always been Indiana Jones to me. Is exactly that.
The question asks you a question though, because then it begs the question: who is your actor? That's going to be the hard part.
Oh, I would still keep just. I'm going to invent the machine that de-ages permanently Harrison Ford.
No. Then you get let's limit us. Let's limit our powers here.
Oh,
what we have available. You can't magic time.
Oh.
You're a real producer. How are you going to get this movie made? That's way better because that's the limit that
All
you have to
right,
think
all
about.
right, all right. Let's
Let's just do that movie. All right, let's we're gonna tell Indiana Jones Adventures.
Okay.
All right.
And his adventure through senior living. Just
well, I'm not gonna do an old. I'm gonna recast him because I think it's the only way you can do it.
well, so I wouldn't even think of casting. I just want to tell an Indiana Jones like story. So
I know, but
Indiana Jones. Is that going to be the limit? Oh God, give me dinosaurs now, because I sort of like my dinosaur idea. Not with a Jurassic Park. We will let the people.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point is like, how would Hollywood make this movie, right?
Right, right. I get it. You just took it an extra layer that I didn't intend on, but that's fine. Let's wrap it because I have to go and take a shower.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead. You end it.
Anyways, for those of you who watch, thanks for watching. For those who will watch soon, thanks for watching. Check out our social medias, Twitter, Facebook, like, subscribe, all that crap. We do like to end the show with a nerdy quote by Mr. Frost. Mr. Frost.
All right. You shoot that gun at me, I will pull that bullet out of my ruined $400 leather jacket, and I will shove it up your ass with my pinky finger. And which one of us do you think that'll hurt more?
Jessica Jones.